What happens when you've built something great, something worthwhile? You strive for greatness. It's come your way several times, so what else could you possibly do when it's time to share with the world the fruits of your labor? Well, if you're the Weinsteins, you cut out 8 minutes, you throw in a hip-hop soundtrack that you bought for a song, rename it, and somehow that's a good thing? I don't know. Welcome to Half-Ass Movie Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Half-Ass Movie Podcast, a show where we put together a half-ass theme as an excuse to watch movies. My name is Adam Portress, and joining me today, he's secretly dressed up like your grandma right now, Bruce Leslie.
You already nailed my favorite part of the movie. Discussion over. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I didn't recognize that this would be your favorite part of the entire movie. We'll get to it, of course.
I'm so transparent. I hate it. Everybody knows me too well.
Yeah, I don't think that you would be the best of poker players, to be honest. Like, I think if we hand you some good cards, you'd be like, oh, yeah. I mean, I've got nothing
I'm a terrible
value.
poker player because my favorite hand isn't necessarily the highest ranking hand, so I don't play by the rules.
He's just like, I thought these all looked nice together.
I love having a 7 and a 2 when I start out.
These look pretty good. You like these colors? These are nice, right? It's like, I don't know that this is how this game works here and everything. Well, Sweet Sean's Kovacs from the internet is out this week, but fear not. He left us at least with a good selection this week because, man, oh man, he could have gone so many different ways here. But he has chosen for us Supercop from 1990. What is this, 2? Holy smokes.
92, I think.
Yeah, this movie is, we'll talk about it and everything, but I think it's on the top of many people's kind of favorite Hong Kong Jackie Chan flicks, to be sure. Was this a first-time viewing for you on this one, or is it a stalwart?
It's a first-time viewing purposes. There were a couple times it was like on FX, and I watched the final scene, like the final fight, because I had seen Jackie Chan swinging on that pole arm on the train before, but I hadn't seen the movie. A lot of times when Jackie Chan movies were on cable, I would note when I expected it to be over and just watch the end credits because they're really fun. You know, sometimes I enjoy the end credits because you get a nice little 5-minute movie right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you look at like the end of like Police Story, the first Police Story there and everything, where he's just jumping down the lights and stuff, where you see all the 8 billion angles that they got when they were shooting, and of course them, rushing Jackie out when he's, injured and everything, looks like he's burned and all this other crap, and he's just like, is he gonna live? We don't know. Well, that's Hong Kong movies for you. Have at.
I think Rumble in the Bronx has my favorite sequence of credits outtakes because that's the movie where he broke his foot and they just painted the cast to look like a shoe and he went right back at it.
It's fine. Just he'll be okay. Don't worry. But listen, man, we're glad he's had that kind of that work ethic ever since. So yeah, he certainly displays it in this movie as well as a couple other.
What if you found out he never wanted to do his own stunts, but directors kept making him, and he was too afraid to say no?
He's just too nice of a guy. He doesn't really want to,
like, Jackie, if you don't let me throw you off the top of this crane, you'll never work in Hong Kong again. And I don't just mean in pictures. I mean, you won't be able to get a job shoveling poop out of the sewer when I'm done with you.
He seems very convincing. I think I need to jump off this awning now. Cracks his leg open. So it's like, well, we'll wait till you heal back up and then we'll start again, I guess.
Meanwhile, I considered having a stunt double trip for me when I made Werewolf Fighter, so I'm no Jackie Chan. I did it myself, but it got one take and it just had to do.
That's all the wife will allow. She's kind of the insurance. No, I shouldn't even have allowed that one. Just no. But we're
a belly flop on soft grass is not as safe as you think.
So 1992, Jackie Chan is still kind of kicking it here and everything. We're working our way to him becoming like a household name here in America and everything. This one though has been I don't know when this actually ended up getting distributed in the U.S. exactly. Maybe it was a year or so later. I don't, who's to say. But we go and we named this. Initially, this was Police Story 3, so the third of the Police Story series here and everything. But of course, when we bring it over to America,
can we pause?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Can we pause here just for a minute? Because I want to ask about those first two movies, which I haven't seen. Have you seen Police Story and or Police Story 2?
I own them on Blu-ray, my friend. Yes, several times, actually. So on DVD and then Blu-ray and stuff. But yeah, so
did I miss anything?
No.
Did I miss anything by not watching those two first?
Outside of some cool action? No, not really.
Okay.
No,
I definitely want to go back and watch them after seeing this.
They're for sure watchable. They're very good movies. For a long time, I think people thought Supercop 2 was probably better than the originals or Supercop, and I'm like, or Police Story. They're all Supercop to me. It's interchangeable, really. But the first one, I still think the first one's probably the best one. It's got, the favela stunt there and everything in it with a car just driving through that Bad Boys 2 completely ripped off to where, when you saw that in Bad Boys 2, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Then you see Police Story and you're just like, you sons of bitches, you just ripped that off whole cloth from Police Story. It's unreal how wildly so that he was just like, nope, we're stealing that. We're just putting it in Brazil. That's the only difference. But
oh man, I got to go back and rewatch all the Fast and Furious movies now with a critical eye. That'll be my third watch through. Oh my gosh.
But those first two movies are really great, but you don't need them for this one. And it would, I'm fine with actually calling it Super Cop. That's really not a quibble that I have. I think that's okay.
It feels very standalone when you're watching it.
Yeah, and it is. You don't have to worry about the other two in there, and just bringing this out as Police Story 3 or Police Story 3. I'm starting to get messed up with names already. With Police Story 3, if you just put that out in America, Americans would be scratching our heads going, well, we didn't see 1 and 2. Why would we go see 3? Yep. This doesn't make any sense. And then that movie wouldn't have made any money. So rename it Super Cop. Make sure in the dialogue you say the word Super Cop, Super Cop, Super Cop, Super Cop within the first 5 minutes, and then you're A-okay. And you're like, listen.
They did totally drop the concept of a super cop once the super cop and got supered.
It's like, you know what this is. Shut up. But we'll get into all that. Before we do, though, we want to say giant. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. When you hear this,
that bad?
When you hear this episode back tomorrow, you will have a heart attack because I almost died with what I just heard. It sounded like Lawnmower Man was coming out to rip my soul out of my body. I swear to God, I was so scared.
Oh, no, man. I didn't mean to do that.
Holy cow. I hope everybody's okay after that one. I'm leaving it in the show. But Jesus Christ, that was frightening. I am literally, that was scary.
That's the internet being evil, man. I blame the Canadians. Man.
You see that movie Unfriended that takes place on a laptop? That's what that felt like,
yes,
bro.
Yes.
Like, oh, Jesus. Whew. Okay, what the hell was I talking about here? Oh, yeah, patreon.com/HMP. Whew, pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone. And guess what, everybody? New feature in January. I don't know if I actually said this out loud to everybody, but every person, as of right now, it may get to a point, and I hope it does one day, where it's too big where I can't manage it all, but right now, everyone who supports over at patreon.com/HMP, anywhere from that $1 level on up, your name is at the end of every one of our brand new YouTube videos that'll be coming out in the month of January. So see yourself there on the internet in big giant colors for everybody to see. So you can pause it there at the end and go, look, mama, I did something with my life. I'm a producer on this show. And you can shove it in everybody's face and make them seem stupid. $1?
Woohoo!
$1
that
to look
easy to come by these days.
And exactly. Now it's $1 for right now. Now, if we get to a point where there's too many damn names on it and I got to, put 58 pages up there, we might have to shuffle along. But for right now, one hell of a deal. Patreon.com/HMP.
When I was doing that, I went to $5 and that kept the number of people manageable. But hopefully we have more than a $5 quality show, though.
I'm hoping so, but please just support whatever it is. That's the best part about it. You don't have to worry about like, oh, if I join up at this level, I won't be getting this thing. Whatever it is that you can afford to send this way, we appreciate that. There's so many people out there and so many places that you could go and spend some of your time, and we're happy so much that you're spending it here with us via either on the podcast or over on YouTube and stuff like that. Thank you guys so much for all this, leaving reviews, all that kind of good stuff, thumbs up, likes, and all that stuff, and a comment on this here podcast, because this comes out on YouTube as a regular video here and everything, and we're going to read the top comment, and since we only got one, he's still right here at the top, so we're going to continue on with this one. King Solomon's Frog said last week, He said, Sweet Shanzi is on the guardrails on this podcast, but the reason you three have been so good for so long is because while you like the same things, you can't be counted to all three feel the same way about a movie. I can usually agree with at least one of you. Also, while you threaten to talk about food and dreams while Sean is out, which I personally would love, you continue to talk about technical aspects of amateur filmmaking for 35, 40 minutes, which I personally don't love.
Oh, no.
So,
I'm sorry.
That's fine. But
I'm so sorry.
Listen, King Solomon's Frog, either way, you are at the top of the leaderboard here, my friend. And if you would like to be like King Solomon's Frog, comment on this YouTube video that you're listening to right now. And top comment will be read on next week's show here and everything. So we'd like to have a little bit of a interaction and stuff there. So leave a thumbs up, comment, all that kind of good jazz. Thank you so much. Or drop us an email, why don't you?
For the record, I have downgraded myself from amateur filmmaker to hobbyist. So I'll change up the conversation from amateur filmmaking to hobbyist filmmaking.
Hobbyist. I'm more of a hobbyist, really. No one's paying them, so that's good. Drop us an email at halfassmoviepod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. All right, let's get into it. Here's the IMDb plotline for Police Story 3, a.k.a. Supercop. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. Oh, boy. A Hong Kong detective teams up with his female red Chinese counterpart to stop a Chinese drug czar. Yep,
He's not red Chinese. She's Interpol.
It's okay. Let's read. Let's read this other guy here. He's from Washington.edu. I don't know what that is, but here's his thing. This one's a little bit better, and it's got his actual Asian name in here. The Asian character. What did they call him in the show? Cal.
Who?
Jesus Christ. Jackie. Oh, my God. Say it again. You sounded like Max Headroom.
Jackie Chan was named Kevin.
Kevin. All right. I'm gonna replace his. Just so I can not mess it up. I'm gonna replace his name with Kevin, just so I'm not screwing that up too much. It's easier for us to say as old Westerners here and everything. A Hong Kong police officer, Kevin, is sent undercover to mainland China to break up a drug smuggling ring. After breaking the brother of a drug lord out of prison, he and another agent, a beautiful communist policewoman, are taken to Hong Kong to work for the syndicate. The wife of the crime boss has been arrested in Malaysia for drug trafficking and is soon to be executed. However, she is the only person who knows the account number of the Swiss bank account containing millions in drug money. While the two officers in Malaysia are preparing for the jailbreak, Kevin accidentally runs into his girlfriend May, who has traveled from Hong Kong. Soon his cover is blown. The criminals kidnap his girlfriend and he's forced to help them pull off the jailbreak. That's almost the whole damn movie right there. Yeoh from Maxwell.edu or whatever the hell. This is written.
And I haven't never seen it with subtitles, so maybe the story changed a little bit when they dubbed over, but I'm pretty sure they said she was Interpol and not working for the communists.
Let's talk about that.
But perhaps for America.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is the one that's, easily available for here, folks in America and everything. Like, if you go to rent it on, Apple or whatever, it's going to be the Miramax version, which is about 8 minutes shorter than the original version. Replaces music with like some hip hop stuff, which is really out of place and doesn't belong like in any, like it just doesn't. It's like, it's so like these characters wouldn't be listening to this. Why would they be listening to this?
Okay, so that wasn't in Police Story 3 because that did confuse me. Like, man, I'm surprised Hong Kong could get the rights for some of this music.
No, that's all Weinstein right there. That's Weinstein adding that stuff in there.
That's not all Weinstein was doing, but.
Well, they called him Harvey. They called him Harvey Scissorhands for a reason because the boy got in there and snipped things up when he didn't like them. Mm-hmm. And so, but comedy was taken out of this, and there was actually more drug references and stuff that because this you wouldn't watch this movie and think, "Woo, tons and tons of drug stuff going on." But there's more drug stuff in this than there would than what we ended up getting shown here in our Americanized version here and whatnot. So.
I might need to seek out Police Story 3 then and see the real thing.
Yeah, I would say so. And you can get it. I think it's out on Blu-ray and 4K and stuff, and what are probably pretty decent versions I've seen. So
cool.
They out there. This is written by Edward Tang, who wrote, like I said last week, tons of those Jackie Chan flicks, including like the original like Police Story, Project A, Drunken Master 2, Rumble in the Bronx, and also with Phoebe Ma and Lee Yeoh. Sure. Directed by Stanley Tung, who also did Rumble in the Bronx, First Strike, Mr. Magoo. That's right, the Leslie Nielsen Mr. Magoo movie. That was a thing. And that guy directed that in Supercop. How about that?
Nice.
Starring Jackie Chan, Michelle Yeoh, though she's credited as Michelle Khan, Maggie Chung, Yin Hua, and your boy, Billy Tung as Uncle Billy, everybody's favorite character. Here's something that you might not know, Bruce.
Okay.
Billy, who plays Uncle Billy, is a recurring character. This guy is in so many Jackie Chan flicks playing the Uncle Billy character.
Yeah.
Now, I want to also kind of reference, and we didn't talk about it much last week because it didn't come up too much, but it'll certainly come up this week with Uncle Billy in play here and everything. Just for Western audiences that may not know, Uncle Billy is not his actual uncle. It's just that's just kind of a reference of being nice, like just someone's seniority. It's just like calling somebody Mister, essentially. So
I learned that when we watched Initial D back for the old podcast.
Yeah, so it's just saying like, Dan, it's somebody of high authority there and everything. It's his boss and whatnot. It's Kevin's boss. I like calling Jackie Chan Kevin, which is just hilarious. But he's like, we'll get into Uncle Billy here and everything. He's awesome. But
so the first thing I'd like to kind of bring up too, and I'm sorry, I think I interrupted you there due to the delay, but I saw Michelle Khan in the credits. I start watching it and I see this actor, and I really am like amazed at how similar she is to Michelle Yeoh, because I just did not think that Michelle Khan could possibly be Michelle Yeoh. And then I was so like bugged by the fact that she seemed so much like Michelle Yeoh. I did look it up and find out they were one and the same. Now, was Khan like some kind of screen name, or did she get married, or what happened?
I wish I knew the answer to that one. I unfortunately do not. But, there's a lot of name changes and stuff, especially coming over, into America and whatnot. Things get changed around a little bit. So who's to say? Somebody's to say. I just don't know. I've obviously seen Hidden Tiger, Crouching Dragon, or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. I've obviously seen that movie, and I knew that she is pretty darn good in that. But I don't think I appreciated just how good she is at Kung Fu, man. I mean, she kind of steals the movie for me. She is every bit as good as Jackie Chan, but with those lanky arms and legs that she has, it just looks so good on camera. She is great, and I hate it that she's not a martial arts icon to me, because most of what I would know her for would be stuff that followed Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where she was doing more dramatic stuff. And of course, we see her in Shang-Chi, but it's like Disney Kung Fu never looks real. My goodness. And I don't know if she did it or not, but just from watching it, I believe she did a lot of her own stunts, just like Jackie Chan. I think they tried to kill this poor lady because in the outtakes, it looks like she's bouncing off a car and hitting the interstate while cars are running down the road at her. Yeah, there's a couple there that are like, that's like, okay, she's definitely not that one or that one, but there's a couple you're like, that's probably her on that one. And it's pretty wild. But yeah,
Did you know that she was, I mean, I guess you knew, of course, that she was in it. So you probably have always known that she does Kung Fu that looks great on camera. But I feel like I'm an idiot for not knowing that sooner.
So the first I ever kind of came across her was in 97, which would be most folks in America, with 97 and Tomorrow Never Dies. Because so when you're kind of second build to Bronson, or Pierce Brosnan there and everything, you're doing all right. And so that made me go like, oh, what is she in, previously and stuff. And so this was actually the first one I went back to right away because I heard that she was in this. And when you watch her in this, it's just like, oh, holy crap, this lady is absolutely amazing. And that's the cool part about Supercop in so many ways, is that because it's obviously a Jackie Chan movie, right? But
yeah,
the Supercop ain't Jackie. the Supercop is his kind of partner here and everything, who's actually supposed to be, she's applied herself to be the kind of caretaker of this guy who's who's been billed as this super cop, but who is most assuredly not a super cop. And so much so that he has to like almost be conned into taking this actual assignment.
And when I watched this, I had the volume down kind of low because my wife was sleeping and I was watching it. So a couple of times, and it's a Jackie Chan movie. I figure I'll follow the action. The dialogue's not that important. But there were a couple of times the story left me. So I look forward to talking through this and seeing if you can enlighten me. Like when they wind up in Kuala Lumpur, I'm like, what the heck are they doing in Kuala Lumpur? Why are they here? So I'll ask you some questions as we go through this.
Here's the thing. You're not going to find a whole lot of really great answers because they aren't there. Or at least for me, they aren't, because a lot of this feels like an awesome road picture where they're just like, hey, we have a lot of, let me see. I don't know how much money this thing might have cost, but it feels like they've got a little bit of money to spend here and every. So budget was $900,000. So in $1996, it's still pretty low, but.
Yeah, I would say when adjusted for inflation, I wouldn't be surprised if Wheels on Mills was a more expensive movie because they shot in Europe.
Yeah, but this feels like they kind of want to just like, go another place and try to get as much production value out of everything that they possibly can. And they really do, because while there aren't a ton of action stuff and everything, when you do have them, they're fantastic. They are when the action is kicking, it is kicking so hard. They save a good bit of it for the third act and everything. But man, when it hits, it doesn't stop. And then it does stop. And then it gets to the end. We almost go, it's pretty damn close to like, well, that was all that credits. It's pretty close to that, but you're riding along the whole time just going like, damn, I can't believe this third act is going. And then we're just finished. It takes a little bit to get rolling there. I will admit that. But that's also where you get some of the fun from this, too. I think this one, out of all the Supercop movies, is probably the funniest one of them.
And for me, it doesn't really get to be an entertaining movie until we meet, and I'll say this with quote marks, Jackie Chan's family. When all the Hong Kong cops and everything, the boss from Hong Kong and Michelle Yeoh, and they show up and pretend to be his family. That's when the movie starts to get entertaining for me.
Yeah, well, that's when you really start getting into what I just kind of call the Jackie time, where we let Jackie Chan do the great things that he's able to do, which outside of just your regular kind of action, martial arts, and stunts and stuff like that, is his other superpowers. Jackie Chan's funny. Jackie Chan is a funny dude who has very good timing, and again, being a stuntman like this, you got to have good timing, otherwise you're going to be dead, right? So one could imagine that him, being good at comedic timing wouldn't be that difficult for him either. And it's not here. It's so good. He's very, very funny in it. Again, one of the great things I love about Jackie Chan is he allows himself to be the butt of jokes, which was something that, for a lot of people, as a lot of people praise like Bruce Lee and stuff, Bruce Lee would never allow himself to get, his ass kicked. Jackie Chan's ass gets kicked constantly.
Really gets it. He's not going to have a contract like Jason Statham or Vin Diesel or The Rock. This is, I have to win every fight, because he understands that he's there to entertain. And if you know how things are going to go, it's not entertaining, right?
Yeah, we want to, have that feeling that there's a chance
adversity.
He could lose. Yeah. You want him to just
I think
live.
That's part of what his magic potion is. And of course, Michelle Yeoh, Michelle Khan, as she's credited in this movie, the perfect straight man for him. Also brave for him to act next to her, because as I've said already, she steals the show for me. She overshadows him and he's there for it. He seems like a totally supportive co-star. He's happy to share the spotlight with somebody very talented, because I really feel like all he cares about is having the best possible finished product.
Absolutely. And he plays it really well because she is good looking. She's a good looking lady and stuff. And he's already physically like right away. He's like, oh, okay. I guess I don't mind this beat here.
Okay,
I suppose I'll do this. Yeah.
Sidebar here. Let's talk about Michelle Yeoh, because she would be the perfect girlfriend, man. She's rich, she's beautiful, and she beat up anybody who bullied me. So that's the three things I look for in a woman.
So she has she came from a dancing background, as like a lot of lady martial arts movie stars kind of started with here and everything.
Much like Patrick Swayze.
That's it. They get mentioned in the same breath all the time. I figured I didn't need to do that yet again for everybody because they just keep hearing it. Michelle Yeoh, Patrick Swayze, Michelle Yeoh, Patrick Swayze. It's almost like we can't get them separated. It's kind of sad at this point.
It proves they miscast the reboot of Roadhouse. It should have been Michelle Yeoh and not that other guy.
A 65-year-old Michelle
Gyllenhaal?
Yeoh.
Was it a Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, that movie. Listen,
hey, she still got it, man. She still got it.
That movie's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad. That Roadhouse remake. It's all right. Could be worse. Could be better.
It was kind of overshadowed by the Fall Guy movie, sort of a similar feeling, and came out about the same time.
Oh, I will tell you this: better than Fall Guy. Better than Fall Guy for sure.
Okay, I've never seen the Fall Guy, but I did see the Roadhouse.
You know what's the problem with and this? It's related to this movie, and I'll tell you why. Fall Guy is a movie that is directed by stuntmen, right? So that's about a movie about stuntmen, directed by stuntmen, right? And yet it feels
not Hal Needham.
But it feels so fake. It feels fake. There are shots in there that like feel like CGI, and you're like, isn't this a stuntman movie? This movie, it's so I love the fact that we are in 1992 and everything in this movie is real. And as much as we'll skip around a little bit here, but we got to talk about kind of the ultimate thing just because we're right here. Jackie Chan's final stunt in this movie, it is as impressive as Tom Cruise's stuff has been and stuff. Even this scene is just like, it's so much more harrowing. I don't know why, but it really is.
The fact that the man is still alive is just amazing to me.
But Jackie's just holding on to the end of this, ladder on the helicopter there and everything. And
safety harness. I mean, they showed it in the outtakes. That's crazy.
And he's doing it for so long. You could tell they had to do so many takes of this thing. I don't know how long he did it in total, but I'm sure it's an astounding amount. My guess is it's at least 5-to-1 shooting versus what was on screen ratio.
Oh, yeah,
maybe even more than that. It's wild. And there are so many, like, because when that helicopter is doing stuff that they will not allow anymore. It's so dangerous when they're flying that thing so damn low and going in between buildings and stuff like that. It is
maybe
so
that's why
dangerous.
they went to Kuala Lumpur. It's the only place that would let them do that kind of crap.
It might be. It's like you watching it, it's uncomfortable because it is just like one wrong move and everybody's done here. It's frightening. I get nervous watching it.
Twilight Zone. That's what's crazy.
Oh yeah, they don't like. It goes in really weird waves where like all of a sudden some crazy stuff will happen and then no one cares and then we're like, well, we're just back to business as usual and stuff. But it tends to be the Asian countries that are doing these martial arts films that just go like, we'll be all right.
I feel like it's got something to do with population density. Like we wouldn't mind losing a few along the way.
Listen, we have stuntmen schools around here, all right? We're constantly educating folks to bring them into the fold.
There's a bloated job market.
We got to get another Timmy over here, man. This one's kind of exploded. That's no good. I love the combat at the beginning there and everything where she's kind of showing him the school and all the folks that are in there and whatnot. It's just a great part that I love about like comedy movies and stuff like that. The guy who's not ready for the situation that he's being thrown into. He's billed as this super cop. He's not a super cop. He's just a guy who kind of thinks he's a super cop in a lot of ways, but he's not. He's kind of a lazy dude, really. So he gets thrown into this thing. Go ahead.
It'd be funny if they had like a Kevin Lee and then a Kevin Lai, kind of like the Bruce Lee fakers that came out after Bruce Lee died, and they accidentally sent it to the wrong Bruce Lee. You know what I mean? Like the wrong Kevin Lee. And that would explain why he's so in over his head.
You almost think that to a degree because they're just like, really? This is what we got over here, this guy? But she sets him up like, hey, let's do this demonstration. How would you like to have your first day on the job be like, oh, hi, welcome here. Fight this guy now, will you? In front of the whole class.
That's what it used to be like back when I worked at the grocery store.
This is Bruce. He'll be working the carts here and everything. And now fight John.
No, it was like, what department will I be working in? Depends on how tough you are. Line them up, boys. Oh, he's tough. We're putting him back in the butcher area.
He slices things.
I brought my own machete the first day of work, so.
I know you had to like the big spinning wheels though, for sure. That like, because when you see them, when you see them, you're just like, well, that's Chekhov's body wheel or whatever the hell these things are called, because you know that that's getting used, man.
Yeah, the movie really kicks into high gear, like I said, when we meet Jackie Chan's fake family back in his fake hometown in real China, not Hong Kong or Taiwan.
Well, wait, before we get there, real fast though, because we gotta talk about who we picked up here on the way to that location and everything. Did you recognize our guy here?
I recognized him, but I didn't know from where. But I was like, okay, I've seen this guy. Was he Thunderfoot or something?
The guy that plays Panther in the movie.
Yeah, who is that guy?
So that is your landlord from Kung Fu Hustle.
Okay, I knew he looked so darn familiar.
Yeah,
and he's a pretty good actor for the role he's got. He really plays like the villain, but the villain that it's not easy to hate.
Oh yeah, listen, he's great because he plays great scumbags. He's a great scumbag character actor, and who is let's see, 200 credits on IMDb. 200.
Yowzers!
He is in everything.
That's a lot.
He is one of those just stalwart guys who has been in everything. Him and the lady that played his wife in Kung Fu Hustle. Those two characters got their own spin-off movie called Kung Fu Mahjong. And it kicks ass, that movie.
Oh, I've got to check that out. The name alone has me hooked.
You of all people will love it. Just like, because you love those two characters, because those characters are great in that movie. And it just says, what if we took those two characters and it was just their movie? And put it in a big giant casino and stuff. Cool. It's so good. Check that out. Check out that movie. But him being in this is awesome, and showing up, and just like he plays a great scumbag, and I love him being in this thing. All right, now we're on to the fake family here situation.
Well, they rescue him from prison, so we can talk a little bit about this prison escape where he hides in the coal in the back of the truck, and they go back there with the bayonet. And we have a nice little, what I call our first real meaningful action scene in it. And then they escape in the world's worst, the world's vehicle for escaping police would have to be a funicular that hauls coal. But I do like the guy gets in a funicular that takes the coal up the side of the hill, up that incline. And then Jackie Chan's trying to run and keep up it. Of course, the steepest incline in the world. The way he keeps running might be one of his more impressive stunts, but we have a little bit of fun with that whole escape scene.
My quads were burning just watching him do that, because you can just feel like it's a 45-degree angle just straight up, and you can see his legs just burning trying to get to the top of that. And here's the best part, kids. They did it way more than a couple of times. I can guarantee you that. Because you've got two shots, one going up, one going down. No, that'd be fun as hell, though, man. A Donkey Kong ride? Are you kidding me? Of course I would, though.
They've got a pretty big one in Pittsburgh that you could just like ride to get to the top of this hill in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh's a really hilly town. Huh. So I've ridden the one in Pittsburgh a couple of times.
Call them the Pittsburgh Hauler.
I think it's called the Allegheny Incline or something like that.
Oh, that's a good name. If you got a little rhymey like that here and everything. So yeah, he gets again. Great fish out of water story here and everything, where they're like, oh yeah, we'll bring him back to the village here and whatnot, and he's just like, he's hoping something happens, and he has no idea what's kind of going on and stuff, and them just kind of rolling with the punches here. Oh yeah, I'm totally that guy. Yeah, bring me here, bring me to my family, and you feel like everything's going to start unraveling here real fast, which is super fun, because you're like, how long can you keep this up, guy? You're just going, oh yeah, this is where I live, right over here. Yeah, keep going. And if he's anything like me, he's playing that one all the way up to the door.
Yes. And, his sister, Michelle Yeoh, claiming to be his sister, kind of shows up and helps save the day, takes him to the place they've managed to secure as his, I don't know if you call it a safe house, his cover house.
Yeah.
And then, of course, do you want to tell people what it's like when Mama comes out, when we get to meet The Eddie Izzard of Hong Kong.
So first of all, like, so we're watching the Miramax version, so it's dubbed into English and everything. And so the nice part is, and we haven't talked about this, but Jackie and Michelle both have their own actual voices for the dub, which is lovely. It really is so nice to actually hear their proper voices in this. So very cool there. However, there are many other voices that are not so hot, right? And so, you'll come across a few of them here, there, and everywhere, and they'll pop up every now and then, right? And in this particular scene, I thought, holy shit, we have some of the worst voice acting I have ever heard in my life. Because it's kind of a wide shot when we first meet Grandma there and everything. I thought we got some of the worst voice acting in this. And like, listen, I feel like, Elmer Fudd over here. I got fooled for half a second. I was like, oh, it's Billy. Well, this makes far more sense that this is the voice for this. Now, I thought they did such a terrible job of an old woman's voice that's what they chose was this voice. But no, that's Uncle Billy doing his impression of an old lady, which then makes it okay.
And the whole time he's there playing Mama, I keep wondering, like, what is he doing to get the saggy chowder bucket effect, the old lady booty effect? And then as they're saying goodbye, we find out his 2 water balloons stretch down to his feet, and he has to quickly pick them up before anybody sees. But I always love a good, Mrs. Doubtfire moment.
A little blip blop there right at the but he's just like, he's so into it and everything, and I like that he's willing to give it all. He's talking to Panther there. He's just trying to distract him from everything like that. Hey, Uncle Billy's doing his best. Damn it, he's really trying to work for the crew here and everything. He's you would think that he's more of a lazy guy based upon the previous stuff that we've seen, but you know what? That guy gets after it. Props to Uncle Billy.
I'm going to admit, I would have liked it if one of Panther's henchmen that are with them here in this part of the adventure had been trying just super hard to get amorous with Billy there.
Oh, you know what? That was missing. And here's the thing: that ain't below this kind of cruise altitude, as it were. Yeah. They would do some of that sort of stuff. They would put that in. There's plenty of martial arts movie back in the day that would have a little bullshit like that going on, where somebody's just going, ooh, one of those little deals.
Setting it up for the Some Like It Hot ending.
Yep,
that would have been a great way to go out.
Exactly. That's and here's the thing. The most of those situations in those movies were probably damn near stolen from that movie, because me, that's one of the great things is that like cinema all over the world has really kind of, circularly influenced each other and everything, which I think is so cool.
Some Like It Hot is a classic. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah. One of the best ending lines in all of cinema history. I put that on. I put that out there. Maggie Chung as
one
May.
time we did a list of good final lines, and I think that was my entry into it.
Yeah, May, his girlfriend there and everything. She's another person that is like, you may not recognize her unless you get into a lot of kung fu movies and stuff like that. She is another one, Maggie Chung, who has like, I think, like 100 credits or something like that. Damn near close to that. She was one of those that like, yep, I'm just in everything now. But when you're a good looking person, that's how you do it.
Tour guide. I don't know how she became a tour guide. That's part of what I missed here. Like, what are the chances that both he and Maggie were going, or Maggie May were both going to Kuala Lumpur at the same time?
Listen, maybe that's part of the 8 minutes that the Weinsteins cut out because they thought it was stupid.
Was she back in Hong Kong? See, that's where I'm losing it. She might have been a tour guide in Hong Kong, and that happened, and she got kidnapped, and that's why he went to Kuala Lumpur. Okay, I'm explaining it to myself, I think.
Yeah, you figured it out. You know what it is. Like I said, we jump back and forth between too many locations to where I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here at this point. You kind of end up along for the ride of it, and you just go, this person's doing this thing. And you're like, okay. Oh shit, something's blowing up. That's awesome. Like that's when you're happy when it gets that third.
And when we're in Kuala Lumpur, we have this escape from prison, or not really from prison, but the prison transport vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the way they execute this. I think it's pretty cool having Jackie Chan pretend to be the driver of that big truck that they get to roll back into the transport. I mean, I thought that was a pretty clever escape. That was A-team level. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, anytime that you can have that, like there's enough. Like I said, when you look at the budget and stuff, you would think that they kind of fast track this stuff and everything, but no, this is pretty well planned out here and stuff, and has a lot of like very cool, interesting set pieces. And for a director who hadn't directed a ton of stuff up until this point, has a pretty strong hand in what he's doing.
And we have Michelle Yeoh here at the end. In the big fight scene and that sort of thing, where she's up on top of a vehicle, she flies off of it, she lands on the hood of that little red, it looks like a British car to me, like an MG or a Triumph that Jackie Chan's driving back there, shatters the windshield. Did she take that bump? Did she fall off that truck? Because I think maybe she did, man. I think she was doing the Jackie Chan thing herself. Do you have anything to enlighten me or to change my mind on that, or to help me out there?
I am not sure. That I wish I had a little bit more. I think I know mostly about Police Story 1.
But it's pretty convincing. I would say that at the very least. If they used any kind of double or trickery there, because I don't think it's that easy to find a double who looks that much like Michelle Yeoh. She's a generational, unique appearing person.
Yeah, the only stuff that I am like for sure wasn't her was like a lot of the dirt bike on top of the train there and everything.
Oh, that's what I was hoping was her.
That for sure is cool. Not her, because that's just to do with that's just to do with a wig on that one. I'm fairly certain. But the cool part is
a Mexican dude in a wig, and I said that's close enough.
Yeah, we're good. But one of the smart things about this movie, and again, Jackie and crew have been doing this stuff for enough time and everything that, you know, we know how to shoot some of this stuff. There are so many times when we go back for quick inserts and stuff of characters, and so like especially like her, like riding the bike there and everything, that really sell the next shot. And to make you think that Michelle Yeoh is on that thing, because they showed you just before or just after what you saw, they link that up really, really close, and they do a fantastic job of that. So the stuff that isn't her,
we'll chalk that up to the editor,
like
man. That was really good, well edited.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, though. I mean, that's with all of these movies is you gotta plan out the action stuff lest somebody die, and even as we see in the credits. People come pretty damn close, you know, no matter how you slice it anyways.
Oh, the bounces on that road coming off trying to land on that red car that Jackie was driving are crazy.
Yeah.
And then when that windshield just shattered, I assume that was a gimmick windshield that was supposed to shatter, but the way these films are shot, somebody might have got some glass stuck in their leg.
Dude, you never know. Like the first Police Story with the double-decker bus there and everything, the whole point was that somebody would go through, the brakes would stop, somebody would fly out and then hit a car, and they didn't hit the car. They flew out and then right on just asphalt. And like, you know, stuff like that just happens. And it's in the film because it's just like, God bless, we got to put that in there. If it costs somebody that much, we got to put it in. And it's just like, holy crap. But this movie does great. But your ultimate, you know, helicopter scene there and everything, with Jackie just holding on to the rung of that ladder for what is seemingly ever.
About 3 days.
It's so nuts. But like, it would just kind of become his stock and trade, all of these things, and you would just kind of like up until Tom Cruise, really, Jackie Chan was just the guy who would just kind of do all that stuff. And I'm sure even to this day, save for, I don't know. Do you think Tom Cruise does 100%?
Out there Man, I don't know if he does 100%, but he does the craziest stuff.
He does the wildest, biggest stuff. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, is there a couple
he might
of things
let somebody else do? There might be things just to save time on filming and stuff where you have somebody like he might have a double that's not necessarily a stunt double, but just somebody to do some of the minor stuff from behind or something if they got to get pickups. I don't know, but I get the idea that if you're going to do if you're going to do the actual hanging off the wing of a plane, what would you hire a stuntman for?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I guess so. You get to that point and you're just like, okay, what you know, why would we need anybody else for this little thing? You seem to be the sick person that wants to do it. So it's they're just different levels. I was going to try to compare the two, but like, they're completely different things all of a sudden. But man, that Tom Cruise is about the closest guy that you can get to Jackie Chan, though.
Yeah. There's nobody that I know about that I would put in that same conversation other than Tom Cruise. Of course, there's plenty of people I don't know about. I think there's got to be, internationally, there's got to be somebody. I don't know, the guys from Jackass. Would you consider them almost Jackie Chan-like?
And those are guys that just take a hit. That's different.
But they take hits to reproductive organs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's weird arguments to be had, but I wouldn't put them in the stuntman category or nothing like that. No, you can't. No, that's no good. But Jackie's like,
they depict the perfect name for themselves.
And Drew, but he's holding on to this thing. It takes so long. He's all over the place. They're dragging him over the highway, and there's no blue screen. There's no green screen. This doesn't exist at this point. Not to the degree that it does now. And even then, Jackie Chan probably wouldn't have done it. But they use just the perfect lens for this thing. I don't know what they're using, but it gives you that super kind of, you are high up there feeling, man. It is, because it feels like you are holding on with Jackie Chan for that entire time going, how are you not? And he's not even like doing like an overhand grip or something where like a rung is in between like his elbow or something where he can get a real good grip on it. It's just raw ass hands. Oh my Lord. It's frightening. I don't like
dangling
it.
by his fingers, guys.
Oh
yeah.
But good.
Fortunately it worked because it's beautiful, man. And, I still think you could have hidden a harness and it would have been just as good, but they got it done. Everybody got to go home earlier that day because they didn't have to rig up a harness.
But I also see with this Tom Cruise thing, though, because I wonder if he got a little bit of inspiration in this, because we do have the helicopter and the train and stuff. I wonder, because we're not too far off from Mission Impossible here. Just say it.
It's hard to think he didn't. And this is not an unknown film,
No.
So I'm pretty sure he'd be aware.
It's an
He's
interesting
the kind of guy
film.
that probably has time to watch movies.
Have
Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan ever made a film together?
No, and it'd be. I'm trying to think of like what that might look like if we did that today. I mean, it's tough because
I think
Jackie
the window has
so
passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the window has passed for that, but if there was an old one, I would have liked to have seen it.
Yeah, it's very tough to look at a 70-year-old Jackie Chan and just be like, go fucking fight. It's just like, no, come on. He's given us so much. We don't need to milk this man any further. He's done enough. Just let him go at this point. We don't need to we don't need to kill him on the job. I guess that's my biggest thing. just let him live.
So there's no doubt that this is a great action movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is a wonderful action movie. How do you feel about it as a kung fu movie? I almost think of it as more of an action movie. And, there's a lot of fighting, but other than Michelle Yeoh, it just looks like what I imagine fighting would look like on camera, on film, more than, what you expect from something like The Drunken Master.
Yeah, from like kind of a kung fu perspective, or we'll just put all of the fighting into that kind of realm, for lack of a better word. Because even Jackie just goes like, "Hey, I do all of these things," and he kind of does. And this, because he's not the choreographer, I can't talk. He's not the choreographer on this one. The director here is and everything, so it's a little bit different than I would say probably what Jackie himself would end up doing. There's a lot more. I call them rabbit punches in this one because they're fast and stuff like that. It's a very kind of poppy sort of style of fighting and everything, which is a little bit different from what Jackie kind of normally does and everything. It works well enough here. Michelle Yeoh's stuff is fantastic, but of course it's going to be.
It's 100% on point to me. It's got the big arm movements, the big leg movements. Helps that she has really long arms and legs. They really catch your attention, and she's wearing sort of loose fitting clothes, so they almost billow over them like flags flying, and you just can't help but look. And she's doing the classic poses, but everybody else just seems to be brawling with a little karate thrown in.
Yeah, she knows she's selling it in that great way that like the only person that I find that kind of, well, I don't say only other person, but the person, just the kind of other counterpart that does some of this to me is like Jet Li, that has this very beautiful fighting style that like, and that is the word that you would just describe it as beautiful. Like there's a flowiness to it. in stuff that like not everybody's, really good at. And some people are really good at. She's one of those. Jet Li is one of those to where it's just like it feels like the kung fu's flowing out of you, so to speak. She's really, really good. So in this movie, as we ask with all of our movies, is Jackie Chan doing it?
Yeah, he is. But more importantly, is Michelle Yeoh doing it? She is as we've said, she is the super cop here. But yeah, Jackie Chan is perfect here, man. He's bringing an A game to what is almost a supporting role, and he's not underselling it. He's bringing just as much to this as he would anything else. Nobody else is going to be dangling from that helicopter rope, right?
Yeah. He's good. He's funny. This isn't his most funny or charming role or anything, but he's not uncharming. He's not mean. There's a couple of Jackie Chan movies, especially some of the earlier Hong Kong ones, where he's a little stinker sometimes. Doesn't have a little stinker degree on him on this time and everything, but he's just enough. He doesn't quite overdo it, but he doesn't like phone it in or anything, I guess. But also
what was the name of those cop movies he made with Chris Tucker?
Rush Hour?
Yeah, he's pretty funny in those.
Yeah, those are good. Again, the man's got I liken it to the fighting. You got to have good timing in fighting. I feel like that's going to translate over to comedy, at least to some degree, to where you can just go beat. Here's where the punch is, kind of thing. It's verbal fighting, so to speak. I like it. Now, but as awesome as Jackie Chan is, if you had to recast this role, who would you do?
So we're in the 90s at this point. I think if I had to recast Jackie Chan, it would be a totally different kind of take on the role, but I think that he would work beautifully with Michelle Yeoh, and that's somebody we just talked about a few minutes ago, Jet Li.
Okay.
He's already done Hard Boiled at this point.
Well, okay, hold on. Well, we gotta. You mean Chow Yun Fat?
Shoot, I've done it again. Yes, Chow Yun Fat from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I got the name wrong because we were talking about Jet Li in my mind.
That's fine.
But then again, I also thought Hard Boiled starred Jackie Chan at one point too. So
hey,
I come by it honest.
He's like, listen, they all got names. Just happens to, you get him in that.
Chow Yun Fat works. We've got the proof that he works well on screen with Michelle Yeoh, so why not put him in here?
Did I ever tell you my experience with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? Me and my buddy Craig, we went to go see it on. If it wasn't opening, it was darn near close to it. So me and Craig go in there. We sit a little more towards the back, and the movie has started. Like preview's over, movie started, and the beginning of that movie is Chow Yun Fat and Michelle Yeoh just sitting and talking at a table. 3 guys walk in, and I know from the second they break the precipice of the theater, I kind of know. I'm just like, this isn't gonna last. What's happening here? So these bros sit down. They're looking at the screen, and I can tell they're fidgeting. They're like, what the hell? And one of them all of a sudden stands up, looks at the screen, points at it, and says, "Fuck this," and then just walks out.
I
hold on,
walk out.
Hold on.
I was so confused the first time I watched it.
And then, like 2 minutes later, he comes back and looks at his boys like, "You're coming on. Let's go. Let's get out of here." Then they all left. I was just like, I knew this was happening. I knew that these guys did not know what they had just walked into. I'm like, nope. This is a movie with a Chinese language, and it's going to be slow to start. You're going to wait until the kung fu happens. This is an American Hong Kong film. They're going to make you wait for it. Now, an actual Hong Kong film, you'd have a fight right up at the top.
Yeah, it is also is it Mandarin that they speak in China proper, and they speak something else, Cantonese in Hong Kong, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know, but it was also
mixed up.
Not made in the same language that. Yeah, it's not made in the same language Hong Kong films are made in. So that was also kind of a big first too, because that I guess mattered to people. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I always love that people go like, "Oh, this is super authentic," and I'm just like, a white guy wrote that movie, right? And then they're like, "Oh shit, what?" And you're like, "Yeah, a white American wrote that movie."
I was expecting to watch like a throwback to a nice. I was expecting to watch something like Kill Bill quality, right? Which is a good quality film, but very different from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah, that Crouching Tiger is the art house version of it and everything, which was what was so great when Tarantino brought out Iron Monkey, and he said, "Listen, if you like that movie's fine. It's like nothing wrong with that movie, but if you want a kung fu movie, watch this movie." And then you did, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's way better. Like this movie's badass. This movie's cool. This movie's badass." So difference there. For me, I would recast this role as well. If you had to, but I would also go for that same kind of make it different than what we have with Jackie and everything. But I think he would also play well off of Michelle Yeoh, and again give a bit more of the flavor to that odd couple kind of thing, and would be even funnier when you sold him as that super cop, and then him just being inept and her having to be the one that does all this stuff. And that's Sammo Hung from last week. Bring back Sammo in this, man. If you have Sammo in this role, that'd be awesome, right?
Sammo works if the premise is the letter goes to the wrong address, but Sammo is not going to make his way up the ranks of the police force because of the fitness test.
But again, I feel like, and again, I want to go back to the beginning there. I think that even then, they're fooling him into doing this gig. I don't even think it's really because he's all that good. I think it's just that he's somebody they can fool into doing it.
If Sammo's in this movie, that plot point becomes a lot more obvious too, that he's expendable and he's just there to actually take a bullet for the real super cop, which is Michelle Yeoh. I like it, man. You've won me over.
Yeah, I think Sammo.
Plus, I just like Sammo. I like Sammo and everything. Put him in Gone with the Wind.
It would dial the comedy number up a lot, and there's a goodly amount of comedy in this as well. I don't want to shortchange the comedy on this because this is a lot funnier movie than I think. Certainly the other two Police Story movies are, and those movies have some laughs in them to be sure, but this one has a lot more, very blatant stuff and everything, a lot with your grandma character, and of course, your Panther character is another like funny guy and stuff like that. So it's a good time.
And Sammo Hung does what I call the woozy winks thing really well, where he just accidentally trips and falls so that he ducks under the sword swinging at his head and that kind of thing. So that's always fun too.
For sure. And this movie would allow for a lot of that, to be honest. All right, movies coming, only two forms, art or fart. Where does Supercop, a.k.a. Police Story 3, fall for you, sir?
Of the three Jackie Chan movies we've watched so far this month, this is the one I enjoyed the most, so it's definitely going to be art. I've liked all of them. Maybe I got a little Jackie Chan bias. It'd be nice if I turned in a fart before this is over, but I'm not going to fart on something if it doesn't deserve to be farted on. So, and also, as if you are a Patreon member, we established that you can outrun farts if you need to.
That's the way we plug the Patreon, everybody. We tell you that we got all kinds of fart secrets over here. This is an art one. I would probably still watch the first Police Story over this one just because it's got a little bit more charm to it. I think the first Police Story
You're really selling it, man. Am I going to be disappointed? You're selling it.
You probably will be. Maybe, and again, I won't sit here and tell you that maybe some of the love is a little bit in its nostalgia goggles for me. That's possible. But there's enough in it to certainly to recommend Police Story and everything. That's all. Both Police Story 1 and 2 are on the Criterion streaming there for everybody if you have access to that.
Oh, and I've still got your login info written down somewhere, so I'm all about it.
Yeah, do that. And they got a whole bunch of other Jackie Chan flicks over there as well if you interested in some of the even more earlier works and things like that. So yeah, that's two arts, everybody. Then yet another episode here in the bag. We'll talk about what we're doing.
Hi, I'm Sean. I give it an art too.
Who's John?
Sean. Sweet Seansy.
Boy, you sound good, Seansy. I'm so glad that you finally made it back here for this last couple of minutes of the show. Appreciate it.
Now listen, Adam, that wasn't me. That was Bruce.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sean. I'll get that right next time. Next week.
What are we watching next week, man?
Next week we're going ahead just a couple years here. We're knocking on the door, knocking on America's door with Rumble in the Bronx from 1995. Same director as this one. Let's see what a couple of years and some more Jackie Chan on him got here, everybody. This is kind of like our team coming back here. So we're going to see that evolution. I remember being in 8th grade when Rumble in the Bronx came out. I don't know why that's so very specifically in my mind, but a buddy of mine who was like way into kung fu movies and stuff before I knew, much of anything about it. You never saw anybody more pumped in your life to see Rumble in the Bronx than this kid. Like 10 years old, and he is just like, this Rumble in the Bronx movie. He was all about this thing, and I wouldn't see it until years later, and then I would go like, yeah, you know what? He wasn't wrong. This Rumble in the Bronx, not a bad flick. So we're going to be wrapping up Jackie Chan-uary with Rumble in the Bronx next week, and then of course February we got an interesting month coming up there as well. So we'll talk about that in not too awful long. Bruce, where can they find more of your work on the internet?
I would love it. I would just love it if just a couple of folks would go to YouTube, type in Werewolf Fighter. That is my award-winning extended short film. It's 38 minutes long. It's great. It's a project of love with my family and friends. So go watch Werewolf Fighter on YouTube. Just type in Werewolf Fighter. If you want to be extra sure, you can type in Bruce Leslie Werewolf Fighter. Go check it out. Maybe leave a comment there too, because I'd like to hear what people think.
Excellent.
As long as it's good, if you hate it, go get screwed.
Yeah, give that. Save that comment for somebody else. Keep all the nice things over here.
Go put those negative ones over on the Super Lopez thing.
Yeah, that's where that one belongs. Can you believe some of those are still some of my highest viewed videos every month that aren't monetized? Makes me want to kill myself.
Absolutely.
There's just like, hey,
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, listen, the thing that would be absolutely astounding to you is that how many people are searching for the Richie Rich movie. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
That one puzzles me because the views on that I don't get it.
They think they're watching the movie. Because it's got like most of the ones that have those.
I still don't get it. I still don't know why that many people want to watch that movie on YouTube. Seriously, like I wish I was selling Richie Riches around the world, apparently.
No kidding, man. Macaulay's just like, nope, you got to pay for that one, baby. But while you're over there on the YouTube, check out Half-Ass Movie Podcast's YouTube page here. We got a whole bunch of videos, including the #1 popcorn video on YouTube. Just look at the word popcorn and boom, your boy's right there at the top and everything. And we got more stuff coming on your way. I have I'm back in the kitchen, everybody. I gotta edit it together. Wait. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I made the apple strudel from Inglourious Bastards, and I'm gonna review that 4K and all that kind of good stuff. I've got a whole bunch of footage. How I'm gonna crack it all together, who's to say? We're gonna figure that out here next week. So do me a favor, subscribe over there. We're 17,000 subscribers strong. Makes me very, very happy. We're kind of going up in all those cases. So thank you so much for that. Follow along there and get some behind the scenes stuff over at Patreon and all that kind of good stuff over there. So a lot of good stuff. If you enjoyed this show, you'll certainly enjoy our YouTube page. Links are in the description as always. That is it, everybody, for this episode of HMP. Join us next week for Rumble in the Bronx from 1995. For the absent Sweet Seans and Kovacs from the internet, Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Portress, reminding you that the only difference between art and fart is F.